What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's up, man?
Not much, man. Just cooked some ribs today, but not on the grill because the grill ain't clean.
Okay.
You know. Um,
What
but
did you slow cook them?
yeah, I cooked them about noon and got them out about 4 or 5 hours. You know
All right.
how that
Yep.
goes. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, people, we here on another Sunset Sunday business partner with me, Kent Robertson. We here to give you some information about what's going on in the marketplace, how the marketplace is changing. Yeah, we a lot of things are changing. We got a we got a program that's going to end on this. I'm gonna start off marketing it. That's ending this Wednesday night at midnight. Well, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, however you want to call it. We have a it's a if with the educational system we belong to, this allows you to get coaching for a whole year at a great price. Okay. A lot of people are taking advantage of it. It's a lot cheaper than if you were paying monthly. So, check out the link below in the lower third. You can check out that. Um, you can check out here following Kent, our weekly webinar thing to have weekly. That's what you can get on there that way because they're going to be presenting in that. Following me, same link there. That's what we're going to be doing. Training every Wednesday, 8:30 or 8 o'clock. I won't say 8:30, it was 8 o'clock. Okay, people. So that's what's going on this week. And as far as training, just training all the time. How's everybody doing out there on internet land type deal? So we're
Yes,
going to start
yes.
this show with about you always got to recruit above who you are or at your level. Don't recruit below. That's what the topic of tonight's show is. All right, stay tuned. All right, your mom always told you. Remember in the days your mom always told you who you hang out is going to determine what's going to be your life or whatever. You lay down with what's it? What's it? You lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas type deal. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Birds of a feather flock together. Yep.
Lock together and all that kind of stuff. Who you run with will influence you. Well, it's no different even in business. I know your grandmother told you that, Kent, didn't she?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I got a million of old sayings, but I won't I won't go through them. But one of them was birds together, birds
Yeah,
of a feather flock together.
yeah. Well, it's the same
Hmm.
thing when you're building a team with a network marketing or any business. You want people that are on your level or maybe slightly above. You don't want nobody below you. You want somebody that's going to help move your team forward. It's just like it's like any type of relationship. You want somebody that's going to be either on your level, maybe a little bit above, not so
Hmm.
above that they're pretentious and stuff. You got to have that commonality. Too many times in network marketing, they tell you to go recruit people who got a pulse. Well, everybody ain't for your team. Ain't that right? We've been through that.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
You
indeed.
know, that kind of stuff is just not what you want to do. That's another reason why people struggle in these platforms and stuff because it's not a good thing to appear desperate, okay? Because once you appear desperate with that thing, that's another reason why you will recruit people that even if you recruit them, they won't do nothing. And if you want to
Exactly.
move to a business like now a marketing or that, it has to have potential leadership. It's up to you. It's up to them to step forward with that, and it's kind of up to you to help and recognize those type of people. It's like okay, let's use sports. Okay, right now you had, and people recruiting for next fall football, recruiting for college football. You got to have a right mix of people to even have a potential winning team. Am I right? Since you a football enthusiast, Kent, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh yes, and you've got to know you got to know the right scout, where that scout's expertise is, and when once you find that information out, you send that scout out to that particular area of interest, whether it be offensive quarterback or running back, or on defense a safety or a linebacker, and you entrust those scouts to look out to see, well, which uh, which recruit would fit your team, or fit your team's concept.
Right, right. And it's all about, you know, and all that's still too part of that is all in the leadership type deal also. No matter if it's sports, business, whatever, you got to have a
Hmm.
certain amount of leadership to move that team forward to the national championship, or even try to even get into playoffs or whatever. And it's no different than a business. That's why I said I use analogies to correlate into back and bring it back into business, because a lot of that kind of success stuff is so connected with each other. And the more we understand that, the more we can do things better for ourselves. Even in martial arts, everybody knows I talk about martial arts. I've been in martial arts since about 13. If you want to have a national, international champion, you got to have the right people on your team. Um, just like, what was that movie with Eric Roberts called The Best of the Best? It was about the U.S. They were supposed to compete against the international winning Korean taekwondo.
Hmm.
Okay. And them guys weren't joke. They train differently than the Americans. You got to have a that even try to compete with the Koreans. And it's not just because they're Korean, it's just their mindset is totally geared a different way.
Right.
Okay. And if you can't be mentally tough and physically tough in that, you're not going to be able to compete, and you sure in hell ain't going to be able to win. And the same thing when it comes to marketing and and then with marketing online, you're gonna have people. You will always have people that are gonna dislike what you say or hate what you got to say, and that's fine. I've been running across Pit Bull. I saw a video of Pit Bull. He said, "You're not doing much if you don't have nobody hating you." Okay,
Huh. Huh.
you're not doing much if you ain't got nobody criticizing or hating you. Bring on the criticism, people. If you don't like what we got to say, I will tell you where to go, but you can bring it on.
Hmm.
You know, but you're not gonna get on here and do that stuff. I always tell people, you can hate on us. You don't have to like what we had to say, but you always got the right. You can always turn the channel. Also,
Yep.
it's like anything on TV. You don't like what they got to say, dude. Turn that channel. Um,
Hmm.
a little, a lot of, just like what the Fox News didn't want to show that January 6th insurrection, all that kind of shit trial. They didn't even show it because they
Hmm.
too much up the butt with that former president. I don't know why there's certain people on in the press still want to refer to him as president. He's a former president. He's not a president.
Hmm.
If anything,
Hmm.
this thing should not allow him to ever be able to hold any kind of public office. Nowhere, no how, no when. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I just I know, and we don't want to get off topic, but I do want to speak on that. I did see that, and I don't see how anyone how anyone could could compel that man to hold another another office in the government ever again. That would be just me. And this is just, and of course this is just the tip of the iceberg. Who knows what else is gonna fall out.
Well, those type of things are things that because of what happened from 2008 to 2016. That's what happened. Okay. We all know why all that stuff happened, why we got that man in office. Because we had a two black men that led the so-called free world. That's all that was about. When you get down to the nitty-gritty, that's what that's all about.
Hmm.
And like I said, you gotta have the right. He had a motley crew. They did half the people on his team didn't know shit, and that's what I'm talking about. See, having a team is isn't very important. But if you got a bunch of clowns running the ship and running it into the ground, what good is it? And you saw what happened with that. 4 years,
Oh yeah.
I believe we wouldn't have experienced COVID the way we did if he wasn't head state running shit or
Mm-hmm.
so-called running shit. I do. I believe it wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have lost a million so people over this, and it didn't have to happen. But because who was running stuff, you know, and this goes back to any type of board of directors, leadership. It has to be that right mix of people. You're gonna run it into the ground. Doesn't matter what it is. And this is why I link politics, I link sports, anything that you're dealing with people that need to move forward for success. You gotta have the right type of people. Hey, it's just like any relationship. If there's no compatibility with women, I mean, if all your compatibility is the physical and sex, well, okay, you can do that anyway. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
It's just any type. And we know we see that all the time and on TV, and it's crazy. If you hear rain in the background, yeah, it's raining here again in Columbus. It just started up again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one of the reasons why I didn't grill out either, since I hadn't cleaned the grill yet. I might do that this week. We're gonna have a heat wave here next week.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg Smith weather alert. Greg Smith weather alert.
He's always saying that 1 to 2 degrees of hell. I mean, how do you know what hell is like?
You you don't know all I know.
Okay. Okay. But it's only for it ain't well, it's gonna be what tomorrow's supposed to be almost 89, they said.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to last till Thursday or Friday, I think.
Well, they said the second half. What's this? The 12th? Next week is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day early to all you fathers out there. Yeah, that means we're gonna be this week. We're a week away from Father's Day and about a week away from the official start of the summer season.
Yep. Okay? Yes, indeed.
So we're halfway through June. We're going to be halfway through Q2, starting Q3 in July. People. Now, if you haven't hit any goals of yourself over the last first half of this year, then you need to be looking at something and paying attention what we, and taking some notes on what we're doing here, because this year's going fast, people.
Yeah.
We're gonna be almost 6
Yes.
months before Christmas, and you need to join us on this weekly training on this Wednesday night and get all the information you can. I was watching another Dr. Claude Anderson video on YouTube, and he said, I don't know why, and he specially directed this toward black folks, black community. He said, black
Okay.
people, he said, why the hell do y'all always go get a job? He said, one thing, he said, a job does not create wealth. Okay? We live in we're talking about capitalism. He said, the biggest problem with that most black folks don't understand what capitalism is controlling assets and having a workforce that you control. He said, this is what happened to black folks. The capitalistic society, they put black folks in an underclass and used them as a labor force. So when you don't control any assets, you cannot compete in a system that requires you to own assets. And a job is an asset that you own as a liability. This is why we always stress things about entrepreneurship and all this other stuff. And this was done through the Constitution purposely from the amendments 1 to 12. Okay? Go and believe me, look it up, dissect that. Because we're here always to educate you about what's why. And if anybody of color is watching this, and why we are always seem to be on the lower end of the totem pole, because of the structure, the construct that was set up purposely to actually keep anybody non-white in a certain underclass, especially black folks, purposely. Now I know there's probably gonna be people, certain black folks have made it. Well, yeah, certain black folks who become billionaires, but they learned to gain of the system and used a labor force to get rich off of. Remember what I just said. I said capitalism is to acquire assets, control and acquire assets, and have a labor force or such to use to enrich yourself. That's what millionaires do. Now, I think the biggest problem in the black community is the moral aspect of it. They say, well, why should I use people to enrich myself? Well, you're in a system that is set up primarily to do just that.
Right.
Okay? Now, what most communities do is control their assets through their own communities. Like, the Asians do not buy outside. You couldn't sell shit in Chinatown to Chinese people. There's a Chinatown in every major city. There's either a Hispanic town, Latino town, whatever. We have not learned to mimic that business model. We mimic a model that keeps us an underclass, which means a job. Okay, all the stuff that you've been taught by your mamas and some women that are out here, you always hear, well, black men don't have a job and can't do shit for me. Well, a black man with a job can't do shit for you neither, unless he own it. Okay, some of the sisters out here that like to talk that shit too. A job does nothing but tax you to early grave. You cannot be wealthy. You're in a game of wealth, capitalism. Capitalism is basically about job in itself is another construct of slavery. That means anybody that doesn't understand this game could become a slave. Yeah, you got high paying slaves. Don't get me wrong. But they're few and far between. And those high paying slaves, usually the white folks that are there, they get benefits. So they're not really a slave. They get benefits to a point because I got to go back and say that this system of capitalism was constructed just to benefit white folks. You don't have to believe me. Look it up. I always tell people,
Right.
look up anything that we have to say, dissect it out.
Yes.
Because they promised from the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment that you know, black people could have this. You know, that was where the 40 acres and a mule thing came in. They didn't even do that. Okay, they didn't do that. So all that kind of stuff. This is why if you talk, I've done this. If you talk to certain people that come in this country, the only thing I don't agree with what he says in the video, he said that he doesn't include immigrants like blacks that come in from the Caribbean or somewhere like that, or Africa, because they have a different experience. But that's not really so much true, because black people, first of all, black folks, we were supposed to, they say we're descendants from those people, but then he says something about we're the original inhabitants, black inhabitants of this country. Well, this is my theory. Regardless of that, slavery is slavery. Don't matter if you're here or how you were brought in here or not.
Right.
To me, slavery is slavery. If if you're able to enslave people in their own country and tell them and take away that, it's still slavery. Whether it's forced upon you, forced out of you, it is still slavery. That's the only thing I don't agree on his theory about, is because he says that those black people had a different experience, and I don't agree. But you can't tell some black people who are descendants of West Africans in Cuba, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, when they were taken over by Spanish, Portuguese, and all those other, that their experience is different. They may not have, they may have been able to maintain. They wouldn't have been speaking Spanish if they wasn't for them being brought over there from there. Okay? Yeah, they were able to maintain African culture and everything else. But my problem with his theory is that if that's the case with original black folks that were here, whatever that means, okay, the cultural aspect, I don't want to say this, it was kind of confusing. I had to look at the tape again. Or maybe because the cultural aspect of it says that he keeps saying that original black people are exceptional. Exceptional in what way? Just because you weren't brought on a slave ship, to me, this is that doesn't make you not have the trauma of being enslaved, be it on your land or not.
Right.
Ain't none of us that have been talking. So, none of us have been talking haven't been on a slave ship. So we don't know. And we can't say that just because you were brought versus not being brought, that you don't experience the same trauma. That's my disagreement on his talk and his theory. Now, I don't know what you would think about that. What I just said. I don't know how you feel about that.
I don't know, like you said, because none of us have, thank goodness, had to go through that particular thing about being displaced, put on slave ships, and coming to this country, and even if it was directly from Africa or from the Caribbean islands, it was still under that yoke
Right.
of slavery overall. So those two things, in my opinion, though they aren't mutually exclusive. So yeah, I like yourself. I would have
No,
to
I don't.
Dr. Anderson's tape to see where he was coming from with that.
Well, is I can only go by what he state just because they were here he made it sound like that the mainland slave experience was different than the Caribbean slave experience because I guess because you have smaller demographics to deal with and they were able to maintain their cultural identity. That's the only thing I can think of,
Okay.
okay, that he's trying
Okay.
to say. But the Spanish that, you know, if you're original, he said the original people that were born here or people that were here. Well, I guess I gotta go. I'm not sure what he mean the original because, or if he's saying that black people they still were descendants of somebody,
Yep.
descendants or not. You know there's a lot of theories that saying that there was black people that came here way before Christopher Columbus. Well, or anybody else. Well, if that's the case,
Hmm.
that's not forced slavery. Okay.
Okay.
So where are you have to decipher why would you say that original well, how are you going to determine who's original and who's not? Because America, first of all, before slaves came to the mainland, they came to the Caribbean first.
Right.
Okay, they came through the Caribbean first, and then some were brought from there to the mainland. They, dropped off in North Carolina. They dropped off in Bahamas, Saint, all those islands around that area, from Eastern Antilles to the Western Antilles. They all
Right.
came through there because that was part of that. From my studies, been part of that new passage. So my problem with that is to say because they were they were mainland that there was a difference. I just don't relate to that because if you're mistreated, that ain't gonna make no difference how you mistreated. If you're mistreated, you're mistreated.
Yep.
There were rebellions here on the mainland as much as the rebellions in the Caribbean.
Hmm.
So how are you going to differentiate through reparations or whatever those people who suffer more than the others? You can't.
Exactly.
You really can't because in this country it does not going to matter whether you Caribbean black or whatever. If you look black, they're gonna label you. They don't give a shit if you speak Spanish or whatever. It's just like you got Dominicans that look like you, Kent, okay,
Yeah.
or like that
Yeah.
look like me. You got people from
Hmm.
Cuba, Puerto Rico. All those people are come from all different shades because of that mixture, because of that. But at the end of the day, when they want to identify you as negro or trigueño, as they call what my look it would be, or mulatto, they
Hmm.
still label you as black or negative or whatever. So how are you going to determine who? You can't determine who suffered more. You can't.
Right.
Everybody's going to still react to certain. Look, I mean, you look at some of the black people here now, ain't been nowhere near a slave. Some of them only going to react because they had to drink from a different water fountain, or they had to go through uh, different bathrooms, or couldn't, those type of things.
Hmm.
doesn't negate that those people suffer more than somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's my whole thing about that. It's just like, we get back to what communities. We've been conditioned to think that white is right. That's why my mother would say how, Longstreet, Mount Vernon used to have nothing but a bunch of black folks down there back in the day. Businesses were all over. But bought to the fact that those businesses are better, subsidizing or joining in, buying, or kids going to white schools, you get a better education. We bought into that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yet we're going to sit up here and say, oh, but they did this. Then why did you go and sit up there and deal with that? My mother said, well, if I was going to work, I'm going to have to deal with. But no, the problem is you had to deal with white folks because you had nowhere else to go to do this. That's the reason. Not because you should have had to. This is the whole thing. I think he's making a point is that black people got neighborhoods, but they don't have communities. He said Asian people, all these other ethnic groups hire within. Okay. They keep their money flowing within the communities. It's just like China kept foreigners out for a long time. That's why they had that big wall, the big great wall of China. They kept people out. They didn't want the influences of folks, foreigners. The same thing, Japan, they call foreigners gaijins. That's what it means, foreigner, white. It really means white foreigner. Okay.
Okay.
Or white barbarian or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is, and when I've said this before, and this is the trouble with why black people struggle economically, is the dissonance of thinking that a white savior is going to come and save them. I think that's been the biggest problem in the black community. It's more, and it seems like it's more so in the black community than it is in the Latino community. The Latino community, and I think the problem with some black people get because there's a cultural bias with black Caribbean people because of the African flavor that's been saved, but that's the thing that's brought in there. Well, my thing, and I've always said this, you always heard me say this, that, well, if you want to learn more about who you are, I would look to the Caribbean.
Right.
Look to the Caribbean. Quit looking to West Africa. West Africa still has a lot of problems. Okay. Regardless, adapt the language, adapt Spanish. See, we want to get so pure in everything, and there's no such thing as that we won't allow ourselves to learn certain other things because we say, well, that's this or that's that. That's not this enough, or that's not black enough. Who gives a shit? At this point in time, you can't afford to do that. It's still a cultural thing. And then, black people are, it's bad to say, black people are fucked up about a lot of shit. and maybe a difference, that part in the mainland versus the Caribbean. But I say, everybody changing, adapting to every damn thing they want to anyway. Look at these people getting sex changes, saying they were born male or whatever. So if they're doing all that crazy mess, why can't you adapt into something that's close to who you are? I mean, quit trying to be so real, as a lot of people say. And you might find, but what you might find is that is real to you. Everybody talking about transgender and binary this. That's a different thing. I can't, I'll be honest with you, I can't get with that, because when you start messing with Mother Nature on a physical and gene pool thing, then that's a whole, to me, that's a whole nother topic that I can't really get into in that
I
aspect.
yeah, and and speaking, speaking as from the from the medical side, I've noticed a trend. I only got got claim documents on when I first started this the job that I the nine quote unquote 9 to 5 that I do. I probably got claims about gender what they call gender reassessing, um, maybe once every 6 to 8 months when I started out, and now my fourth year, I'm starting to get it once every, and it's very subtly, but there's a difference. I'm starting to get it every once every 6 or 7 months now.
Hmm. What, it makes you wonder, do they do something to some of these kids in there when before they were born? Or is it
Hmm.
something in the food? Because you never heard, I grew up, we all knew there's some guys who were gay who like other guys. And
Yeah,
we even
yeah.
some guys that like to dress up as women. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as just reassessing the whole sex thing to
Mm-hmm.
gender reassignment and all that other stuff, that was like,
Right.
wait a minute, that's taking a little bit too far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe it's a generational thing because, like yourself, being a late what you call a late baby boomer, and me being a Gen Xer, it just yeah, we like you said, we knew there were gay folks and folks who like to dress up, but as far as someone taking it all the way to transforming themselves, that was like not to say that it didn't happen at all, but it was just like a once in a blue moon thing.
Yeah.
Now, you know, it's starting to it's starting to the for lack of a better phrase, starting to pop up like a lion bush.
Like it's popping up like popcorn everywhere. But
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
think, and I know I'm probably gonna get some criticism about this. Criticism of issues on just being black or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Why add on to
Hmm.
it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
add on to the problem that being black in a country that doesn't look at you as anything more than a property and still does and still got that on the papers?
Mm-hmm.
To add on that problem to me makes no sense. And you wonder, people say they're born that way. Well, that's where it makes me question all the religious type stuff.
Hmm.
And you can't say to me, well, gay and this is a sin, but yet they're finding that these people are born that way. So if we're made in the image of whatever you want to call a higher power God or all that, then what does
Yeah.
that say about that? People don't want to question that thing because they know that's something that has to be questioned. It's just like you go
Mm-hmm.
back, we go back to talk about with having a job and depending on that, we're in a time period where none of this things are going to be changing now.
Yep.
But we already knew that the job thing was not an asset to anything. I'm not sure what this country's going to go through as far as, I'm not even sure what's going on now with COVID, because that seems like it's back on the half burner also. What's going on? Where are we as far as, there's a lot of people that we're not really getting off topic, because one thing I think people need to start understanding, that everything we talk about affects every aspect of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Jobs to all this type of thing. And too many people, you can't stay on a certain topic without addressing the problems that have a big effect on what's happening in the world. And like now, it's almost like, they're saying we got this Omicron, but it's not as transmission, but you got some people going in the hospital. So what is truly going on? Where are we in the stage of the pandemic? You don't hear, after Fauci had made that statement, said we were transitioning to another phase, but yet nobody said no more about that now.
Right. And
where are we in that?
And
have you heard anything?
I know it's been a gradual uptick, but
it's not like it was, like, I guess, like the last few
summers. Yeah, it hasn't been like it was last summer or anything like that. But there is an uptick, and will we get it? Maybe. Probably won't be until the fall if that uptick does take place. I know that's in the state of Ohio that it has picked up a little bit, but just not in the more, it's picked up in the more rural areas than it has in the more populous areas.
That's interesting. When this first came about, there's always talking about, staying 6 feet apart and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not, gathering so much together, as you just is uptick in the rural versus the biggest populous places. Isn't that, doesn't that seem like a contradiction to what we were told the first time?
Yeah, because and I don't know, but I'm still keeping kind of leery. I could have went to a function that yesterday, but I just decided I really didn't want to be sociable. But there was a unofficial get together of the folks that I work with, that since we hadn't seen each other face to face since the pandemic. They wanted to get together and at one of the sports restaurants. And at first I was going to go, but I was like, you know what? I really don't feel like being that sociable, and I don't really, So I opted not to go. But it's like folks want folks to be out there again. So of course we had the Arts Festival this weekend, and then
yeah.
What's the next one? Red, White, and Boom is
in a couple of weeks.
Yep, going to be that. But of course I stopped going to that when the kids start getting older anyway. So I don't think
that's happening on the 1st.
Yep,
of
sure is.
July. That's a Friday.
And it's going to be, downtown is going to be, it's going to be packed. So especially since it's the first time in 3 years, so it's really going to be packed down there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out.
It makes you wonder what is going on that they're not telling us.
Mm-hmm.
with the pandemic to be opening up
Mm-hmm.
certain things now. And you know, now they dropped the requirements to test negative for international flyers.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I did
U.S.
see that a couple. I did see that a couple of days ago.
See, you starting to see, and that ended today. So, what's going on with the pandemic that they have not fully disclosed out to people? What's going on? There's got to be a reason
Mm-hmm.
why they're doing all this
Mm-hmm.
to let up off of this. It doesn't make any sense, but yet they said, "Well, we will evaluate things in the coming fall." Well, y'all must know something
Right,
now.
because people are still getting it, and unfortunately, some people are still passing away from it. It's just not as talked about as much as you stated as it has been like 6 months ago, for example.
You know, I keep seeing articles about blood types with this
Hmm.
virus, and like me and my mom, we are O type, O negative or something like that. We are less. They say O O types are less susceptible. I mean, I'm not gonna test it out to see if it's
Right,
true or
right.
not, but I'm just saying that's some of the things I've been saying. Then like A, B type blood types.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
I don't
type
know.
O too.
What? So I'm wondering what is going on that they're not disclosing out there. You know,
Hmm.
got to be something for them to
Hmm.
open up that type of stuff to say, we're not requiring testing for international travelers. That's like
Right.
when Alice came over here, uh, when she made I guess last when she made her thing to come over here in Christmas. I guess at the time they weren't doing that, and then right when she made it, then they implemented the testing to come in the United States. So she really, I don't know if she gonna come anytime this year or not.
Right.
I haven't heard. Didn't say it. Well, she didn't say nothing either for Christmas either. So, so I
Yeah.
don't know. I haven't really talked to her since. Um, Damn, when was the last time I talked to her? I mean, last time I talked to her on the phone, it's been a while.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm just curious and wondering what's going on, what
Hmm.
what's really going on with the pandemic. Because there's nobody in, you go in the stores, nobody's really hardly wearing masks. There's a few people, I
Hmm.
still do. Um, I don't know. You know, it's just funny. You gotta be inquisitive enough to question certain things
Right.
because the government's not gonna tell you anything about what's really going. You know what? I saw this video too, talking about the government of
Hmm.
the aircraft carrier. Plane was landing on the aircraft carrier. They had this picture of this foreign, looked like an alien spaceship. It was a triangle. It was on TikTok, taken back in 2018.
Mm.
But then they showed it again. It looked like the footage had been edited out. I don't
Okay.
know, man. You make you wonder what's going on
Hmm.
more so than any time. You know, they're not disclosing a lot of different things.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
they want to blame this economy on Biden, but I think this stuff was happening way. if we didn't have that fool in the White House in the first place, we probably wouldn't have had this. This started when we had this is the after effects of the pandemic. Also,
Yeah.
okay? But then again, you got companies that got greedy. Then we go into capitalism.
Yep.
Took advantage. They're taking advantage of people getting back out to travel and stuff. So they're jacking the prices up. If that didn't happen, if we didn't have people not, staying home for the last few years, it didn't happen this way. They're trying to make up for the last 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Of losing money by jacking the prices up. That the way they're doing that. That's what the the Dems then need to explain. This is what capitalistic organizations do. They're trying to make up monies that they lost the last 2 years.
I saw and I'm sure you probably and I'm sure I saw this meme on Facebook, and I'm pretty sure you saw it too. It was a meme that said, "Hey folks, this is the reason why we're paying extra gas and for food. We're paying back all that stimulus money that we received during the pandemic era."
Yeah, so that's another thing, right?
That's some truth to that. That is some truth to that. I do believe.
Ain't nothing free. I said, didn't we say that? I said, one way or another, people gonna end up paying that stimulus check back.
Right.
So what they doing? They jacking up the prices with every damn thing. So this was saying ain't nothing free. You hear especially when you hear white folks talking about freedom, shit, ain't nothing free. Yeah, you be getting that shit right now, but wait till this is a capitalistic society, and they gonna want their money back.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. They like you said, that makes a lot of sense too. They've jacked up the prices. They're probably gonna be jacked up till the first of the year. At least.
Yep.
They're gonna determine, okay, how much of this money did we get back? Ain't nothing but crooks. That's what's going on here. Paying back their stimulus money. Even and it's so bad, the people that didn't even get it are paying it back.
Yes. Yes.
But this is the country that you guys keep talking about free, especially with the white community, all talking about their freedoms to do stuff. This is the capitalistic society that y'all keep fighting for and saying your freedoms to do what you want to do. That's what this is about. Ain't nothing, god dang it, ain't nothing free. So, well, I don't, that's just where it is. People, when you understand the economy, you understand what's going on, you make better decisions about what you're going to do, to how to take care of your family and stuff on all levels. Okay, I don't care what business you get into, whatever. You got to, what you're building is always got to be about quality, not quantity. It's all that kind of stuff that I've been talking about for the past few years. That a lot of y'all get caught up in all this, how many likes, how many shares, how many this and that, and it don't mean shit if it's not helping you make money. So I look like we've been on here an hour or so. Always have to try to keep it an hour. Huh?
That hour went quick.
Well, I've been trying. I think what was going on with my computer, like so many, I was down on some updates or something. So you notice that the sound is a lot better.
No delay.
Yeah.
that I could tell. You know.
So it could have been more on my end, or I don't know.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it's the network, the system, and all this shit that was going on. So I've had about 3 or 4 updates all week because I've been checking to see what was going on. I just
Okay.
updated earlier today the computer also.
Hmm.
So that's the
Hmm.
thing you got to do. Make sure your system stuff is updated. Make sure all that kind of stuff. That interferes, especially when you're doing when you mess with Wi-Fi stuff. That gotta be. You gotta
Yes.
So what was that?
No, that was me whistling.
Oh, okay. I was like, fuck.
My- uh,
But well, I don't have much more to say. You got anything to want to add to this?
hey, guys, we appreciate y'all popping on. Hey, we could stand to have a little bit more engagement because I've seen some folks pop on and pop off that because believe it or not, Greg and I, and especially me, Greg and I don't like to do all the talking. But so if you got something to say, don't be scared to say it. That
Yeah,
because we
also.
like to chop it up with the folks. So if you want to
Well,
do that, please.
that's the problem. That's the problem when you don't. I don't know. We got to try to. I don't know if the quality people that we are attracting,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems like most of the time, black folks like to play that peekaboo thing,
Hmm.
and let's get into a conversation on what's really going on in the world instead of just it's
Mm-hmm.
not about. Sometimes you got to break they say you got to break a muscle down to build it up,
Yep.
and you got to understand something that there's a lot of shit that most of us has gone through and don't understand that we've gone through this because
Right.
we constantly thinking all this shit do is so normal, and it's not.
Right. And I get it that folks wanna just lay back and chill. Man, I've been doing this all week. I don't feel like doing. That's 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 the wrong approach, folks. If you just want to lay back and chill, you don't
If
want to.
you,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, there's a time and a place for everything, but when
yeah,
you're talking about in the constraints of building your business, getting a better, uh, putting yourself in a better life financially for yourself and your family. I mean, there's really no time to lay back and chill.
yeah. If you only here to lay back and chill, why are you on here? Really? This is
Hmm.
not. This is a platform of. This is like I said. This is a platform of people who want to move forward in their life, not by a job. See, maybe I should say we're trying to get people to understand. Don't depend on the job for every damn thing that you
Hmm.
do. I don't care what your
Hmm.
mother said, your father, your minister, your student, whatever, your girlfriend. A job is not an asset, people. Most of y'all are
Yes.
so broke, y'all can't hardly afford to go to the job, especially with $5, $6, $7 a gallon in gas.
Mm, mm,
Commuting,
mm, mm.
okay? So a job ain't about shit.
Right.
Yeah, not in the economy that we're living in now. All that commuting you got to do. I had never paid no $43 for no gas. Some of y'all paying
Man,
hundreds of dollars for gas.
man, yeah. If I feel because my daughter looked at me crazy when I just put $20 in. I was like, I'm sorry, I am not putting no 60, $70 in my tank just to fill it up. I'm not going to do that.
especially when you ain't got to commute nowhere. You
Right.
know, it don't
Exactly.
make sense. It don't make sense.
Exactly.
Why spend that? If more people
Mhm.
stop commuting to these jobs and not feel, spending the money at the tank, maybe they bring down the prices. But we're right now we're at that summer months, and 2 years of
Mhm.
summer people weren't doing it. But you know what? At $6-7 an hour, I mean gallon, some are 8. People are reevaluating that. I'm not spending that money to go nowhere at that price.
Right.
So
Right.
you're going to put yourself back into the price of what of the situation that happened during the pandemic where people weren't going nowhere because they were locked down. Now people said, "Fuck it, I'm not spending $8 a gallon just to go somewhere. I'm not doing it."
Mhm.
So you can sit up there and play that gouging bullshit, corporate America, oil companies, banks, produce, merchandise. Y'all can play all that gouging shit all you want. If people decide I ain't doing this shit and it's not moving the needle for profits, they're
Mhm.
not. People are learning. We're gonna be in a pseudo type farming digital age where people are gonna learn to farm at their home, build their own vegetables, plant their own vegetables, and still work from home. You can't try that. You can't keep
Oh.
gouging people till they don't. They said I'm not. So this is in a new age right there. So y'all
Mhm.
better evaluate what they really want to do. You're not gonna make that money back that way.
Mhm.
So if they're trying to make that money back through cause of stimulus and gouging, then they shouldn't have sent the stimulus in the first fucking place.
Mhm.
But people, I guess, people needed it. But we've been trying to tell people you should be trying to work from home in the first damn place and quit trying to go to these damn jobs because they just not. I don't know. If you it's like people who get abused so bad that they so used to being abused that they've thought it's normal. And I think that's what the job market has been an abuse mechanism
Hmm.
so long that people have gotten used to as a norm.
All right.
These companies abuse their workers. They tell them, well, you should be thankful that you have a job. Well, thankful for what? For something that I can't barely afford to come to? I'm
Hmm.
supposed to be thankful for it? Kiss my ass. Really? How am I supposed to be thankful for something I can't hardly make it to at $8 a gallon? And you talking about $15 now? That $15 an hour people were hollering about, that's been eaten up by the damn inflation. That ain't
Yep.
shit.
Mhm.
Basically back to square one
Yep.
with inflation and taxes and stuff. Ain't nothing. So we've been saying this for the last 2 years since I started this panel discussion on my show that you guys are talking about stuff that's been 30 years behind. Now, is it showed that you are because of what's happening now with the inflation part of this whatever we're going through now. They say the pandemic's over. Or not over, but there's no talk about what's going on with it no more. Not like it
Mhm.
was. Not if
Right.
it's slowed down from last year at this time.
Mhm.
I don't know. Well, like I said, every end of the story on Sunday nights, people are stressed out. I know even more so with commuting. Don't let that stress level put you in an early grave because you got to commute whatever. If you die at your desk, they'll replace you real fast.
Yep.
As I always say, your job will be in the paper before your obituary. And that's a Les Brown quote. That ain't my thing. That's just something I've adapted to the end of my story every time on Sunset Sunday, because that's just that's what they do. And then right now, we're heading into third quarter. Okay, we're in the halfway mark of 2022, and I always say between now and the first of the year, they're calculating budgets for your job, whether they're gonna keep you there or not.
Mm-hmm.
With high inflation, high this, high that, they're making budgets to say what department do we need, what department we don't need. They're doing quality control on what's going to save their money, put money in their pocket.
Yep.
By cutting you guys out of the game. They do this every year, regardless
every
of
year.
Huh?
Oh, I was just saying every year.
Every year, people. The corporate cartel fucks do this every damn year. Okay? Sometimes they do it twice a year. They want to determine how they can save money or maintain more assets by cutting out liabilities, which the employees are a liability. You're a liability to a corporation, people. They may you're a labor force, yeah, but yet you want benefits, you want this, you want that, and that. That's a liability because there's money taken out of their pocket. They ain't willing to do it. They'll pay it, but that's how they get away with not paying some taxes. Because see, there's this whole game of this shit. Most of y'all just don't understand it because you purposely weren't taught financial thought, because you were taught, you were geared, you were told from the time you came out the womb that you were going to be an employee, unless you come from a family of wealthy people that had assets that you could work at.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
family.
folks. Oh no, go ahead. Finish your thought, Greg.
No, I said a family business, and most black folks in this country don't have that. There's very few. The percentages are so low, it's not even worth counting. That's why all y'all are hollering about your job, always hollering about retirement, always hollering about all that kind of shit, is because you are in a construct and kept at the lowest level of the financial totem pole on purpose to be a slave. Slavery didn't end, people. Slavery has always been a financial thing. It's just now they put you in a construct of without the chains and gear. Those type of chains and stuff was on your mental state, giving you a job that you think you're doing good at, and you're really not. You're really not. It's just being aware. I'm not trying to tell anybody to do what they want about their job. That's not what we're doing. So don't get into that mess. We're trying to tell you. We're just trying to get you to be aware and understand the game that you are in, the game that you are playing is not for your benefit, and it has never been for your benefit.
Right. And just to piggyback off what you said there, Greg, yeah, corporate America sees you as a tool, and a tool only. Mm-hmm. That's why they call that tool human resources.
Right. Yep. And the people and the owners use tools to enrich themselves. Okay? That's all I really got to say for this week on Sunset Sunday. Next week is going to be Father's Day.
Yay!
All you fathers out there, guess we just have a Father's Day show. What I'm going to talk about, I have no idea because I'm not a father. And maybe I'll let Kent, since he's the dad of this, do a lot of the talking about what Father's Day means to him.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Hey,
I'll take that. I'll take that.
have you talked to Stephanie?
Oh shoot, I haven't. I haven't talked to Stephanie.
I know she was talking
I'll
about.
get, I'll see what her schedule's like for the next few weeks or so.
Yeah, she was talking about wanting us back on her show to discuss our business model. But
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
I told her, well, that's your show, so you need to let us know
Yeah. Yep. I'll reach out to her this
what you
weekend
gonna do.
and see what's up and see what things are looking like.
Yeah, I see. She's still doing her stuff on Sunday on at 7.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, people, like I said, we do this every Sunday. I've been doing this since 2016. Brought Kent along on this in 2020 when the height of the pandemic. I decided to change the format to a panel. We started out on Zoom and then we switched over to this platform.
Mm-hmm.
But change is inevitable, folks.
Yes, it is.
This is what we do. We'll see you next week, same time, same back channel. Father's Day show. What we're gonna talk about is just gonna be loose and fancy free, people.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. With that, everybody have a great rest of the week. If you're in that heat zone or in the Ohio Valley, it's gonna get warm. We're gonna truly be in that. Summer's coming, people. A week from now.
Yeah, we're gonna get the Greg Smith experience next this week.
The Greg Smith experience. Okay. All right, people. Everybody take care. And we'll see you next week.